Jess Draper, and for the Student Music Network, and I'm here with Sophie Cates to chat all things new music, tour, and everything exciting about Sophie Cates. So how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm great. I just woke up, got a coffee. It's sunny in LA, which usually is very normal. I'm doing good. I'm very locked in on my tour rehearsals, so been waking up early. It's been kind of rainy here, but it's very blue sky, sunny today, which I'm very grateful for.
It's very exciting actually, because you've got quite an exciting February, well, rest of February ahead, haven't you? So you're releasing your upcoming album, which is called Supernova, if I'm correct. So what is the meaning behind that name for you? Because I know sort of names vary, and you go through about 100 of them. But what does Supernova mean to you as an album name?
So that became the album name because of the song Supernova, which is on the album. And it's funny because that song, that word was the last word that I filled in for that song. I'd written the whole thing and I was trying to find a word that encapsulated that feeling of like everything just being a mess and anger and drama. And I had filled it in with probably like five other words, right? And then I was in the room with my friend Wyatt, who is Land Party, who produced the whole project, and a couple of his friends. And one of them just said, "What about supernova?" And I was like, "I don't even know what that means." But when I looked it up, it literally means a star, a sun that is exploding from pressure from both inside and out. And I was just like, it was the first time that a word had described how I was feeling. And I just became obsessed with the concept.
I think where you sort of hear a word, and especially when you hear it, really matters, and it can really quite emotionally kind of attach in a way.
Like I felt like a supernova because I was just a mess and exploding everywhere. Kind of was like finding similarities between the person I was writing about and a supernova. And so it kind of just felt like as soon as I heard the word, it felt like the right thing to call the whole album.
I Don't See You How I Used To is your latest single from Supernova. What's your favourite lyric from that track and why?
I think my favorite lyric in that song is the second verse where I say, I was walking alone, and I saw your car at the light, and I thought, thank God I'm not in the passenger side. So basically, that whole verse, I'm describing that first moment where you realize you actually are like really grateful that you're not with the person. Um, and at the end of it, I say I turned around and I turned it up like my music, and it wasn't out of spite. And I think that's my favorite lyric because up until then, I had realized everything I had done was out of spite, and turning up my music and walking away, I think for some reason that moment felt so powerful to me.
Because your music's always been very relatable, but I feel like this is quite an even rawer sense of relatable. So the album, as we've just said, is quite emotional throughout the tracks that I've heard. I Don't See You Like I Used To, Supernova. There's so many songs that are coming out of this album. What was the writing process like for this album compared to past ones, compared to like EPs and albums like Yikes?
All the other times I was working on a project, I probably had the songs for the most part, and just brought them into a bunch of different producers. With this one, I basically was going through this really insane thing and I was freaking out. And I was very, very lucky that my friend Land Party was coming to stay with me in LA. And basically, it was just the most natural process because we decided to work on music one day. I wrote the song in the room with him and I was sobbing, crying. And I just had this moment of being like, I couldn't do this in front of any other producer. Like, I think with this album, if I want to say everything I need to say, I need to make it with you because, first of all, he's an amazing producer and he has this really unique sound that I just have always been obsessed with. And second of all, I like really needed someone who would just let me feel those things and someone I didn't have to be embarrassed in front of.
So you're touring at the end of February. What tends to be your travelling soundtrack?
A lot of Charlie XCX. I play Dreamer, the Charlie XCX song, before I go on stage. It's like the perfect hype up song. And then a lot of Taylor Swift. I feel like when I'm traveling on a road trip, I need some folky energy. So some Big Thief, some Mitski, just a lot of my favorite female artists, I think, to get me hyped up.
So, have you got any exciting plans with the upcoming tour? What exciting plans can you tell us about this tour at the end of the month?
The first thing that comes to mind is that I'm doing a really exciting cover of a Taylor song that I've put a lot of work into, and I think it's gonna surprise people just the way that I do it. And that's all I can say because I don't want to give it away. But I am doing a Taylor Swift cover, and then I'm screen printing all my own merch. So, I'm spending like a decent amount of time on each shirt. And so I just feel like for my first headline tour, I wanted to be able to like hand a shirt to the person who came to the show and be like, I made this for you. You know what I mean? So that's exciting for me. I don't know how exciting that is for everyone else, but I'm excited to hand people my hard work.
It's that thing of community, isn't it? There is quite a community that surrounds you as an artist. So your music videos always have this gorgeous sense of intimacy and nostalgia alongside your music with tracks like "I'll Go Goth," "Drinking Games," uh, "Football Game," which has always been one of my favourites. So within your music videos, you've got this gorgeous sense of intimacy and nostalgia. What are some of your favourite moments from filming music videos?
I mean, obviously the first ones that come to mind, and by the way, I think the reason my videos have that sense of intimacy is because for the first like 4 years, I had no budgets. So it was literally just like me and my like two film school friends, like renting a camera and like doing what we could do and like using my friends as extras and all of that. And so I'm happy that that comes across as a sense of intimacy because it really was just working on a low low budget. It's just your friends goofing off or your friends being down for whatever crazy idea you have. Like I'll Go Goth, for example, was me like hitting up all my friends in New York being like, hey, can I like dress you up like a goth dude today? And it's so fun. So that was a good one. I'm trying to think what else. That Drinking Games, which was like the first video I ever made, was really fun too because I it was just all my friends. Oh, this is a really good one too. When we were filming a football game, I think putting the football suit on was like one of the funniest moments of my life because I knew that the label wasn't very happy that I wanted to go from hot cheerleader to football. And I remember being like so happy that I had convinced them to let me become a football. So those are some good ones.
So you started off fairly young when it came to making music. So what advice would you give to younger Sophie Cates when she was sort of first starting out?
I try to live life with the understanding that you shouldn't go back and change anything because everything is like a good lesson. Um, there's obviously things that I have regretted in my career that I'd say don't do that or like don't sign this or you know what I mean. But I think in the long run, with where I am now, I'm like I needed to do all those things. So I don't think I would want to give her any advice. I think I would just want her to follow her intuition and get herself here.
So you went to see the Taylor Swift Eras tour, from what I've seen. Which Taylor Swift era do you identify most with at the moment, and why?
That's such a hard question for me because I take this very seriously. Probably Red, but not Red because of the sad songs, Red because of like 22 and just feeling hype and young and excited.
What's your dream tour lineup?
It would probably be I want to open for Taylor Swift so bad. So that's probably it. It would be and me and Imogen Heap opening up the Eras tour.
So I'm going to let you go, but this has been Jessica Draper Man for the Student Music Network, talking to Sophie Cates. I hope you've enjoyed listening, and thank you to Sophie for joining me and being so lovely to interview.